Hello, everyone. This is Amar Wolf of threetimes.net reporting on the recent MFF. As you can tell, I've been there and it was fun. It was a wild ride. Some changes are made. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there who criticize MFF, but they really did a good job this year. I have to admit, I was surprised. Things we weren't able to do for years, we're able to do. More on that in a minute. My adventure began on Thursday, November 30th. Uh, and that was more ways than one. This is my first convention. We're actually staying at a hotel near the convention. Not at one of the main hotels. I would call it more one of the side ones under a flight path. Yeah. But it was cheap and it's something I could afford, and a friend helped me split the cost of room. Denny's was nearby, which we ate at a lot. Good food. What else? Oh yeah, registration. That was a interesting adventure itself because usually I go on Fridays and wait about 10 minutes and I get everything. Well, this year was wholly different. It was like an hour to get my badge and another well, about 15 minutes to get the swag because it was a long line, and after we were done, I mean, I gotta admit the sponsor line took a lot longer but they said it should be wrapped up by 5. I would say pretty close to, but it did run a bit over, like about a half an hour. Not quite a half hour. I can't really say which because I had a lot of things on my mind, and it was a mess. But okay. Here's the thing. What did sponsors get? We got the T-shirt. We got a wristband, 2 lanyards. We got the standard one that they give out, that the convention gives out. That they put my badge on, and of course the one especially for the sponsors, which I thought was really nice. I put my work ID on that one. Yeah, my work, and nobody notices. Of course, the information card they gave all of us, my badge, it's a sponsor thing, and what else? The coin, the coin, and of course that, and the pin, and the pin. But that wasn't all. That was not all. We also got this. So what exactly happened if you haven't heard? Well, turns out not all the sponsor or the volunteer items arrived before the convention took place. In fact, as far as I know, there's still someplace in transit. According to one of the volunteers I spoke with, they're saying that it was only thing the shipping company would tell them that it's somewhere in the United States. Yeah. But what was it? For the sponsors, it's a little plush. I'm assuming it might be the one with you know, this design. I think it's probably that design, but I'm not gonna say because I really don't know. The spearheading sponsors get that item plus one other which they weren't too certain about, and the volunteer item, which is that if you watch a lot of I'll think a lot of stuff supposedly set in Russia, they wear this certain type of hat. You can look it up online, but anyway, the hat's not cheap. It can run about 30 to about $50, and depending on the quality. And the volunteers want that. They had to work 11 hours to get it, and a lot of volunteers specifically worked 11 hours just to get it, and they still haven't gotten it yet. Well, I haven't even heard back yet. We're supposed to get an email eventually saying, "Oh, the item is now available. Uh, please arrange. Uh, how can we ship it to you?" Which is what I'm rooting for, but I haven't heard anything back yet. Of course, it's still too soon. Um, well, that goes on to Friday when opening ceremony began. This is when we learned on Thursday, even though concerts took until about not quite 5:30 to go through. And of course, the extremely long line for the uh, for everybody else. It was long. I couldn't really get a good photograph of it. I know you can probably find some online already, but it was big. Now, here, the one thing we learned during opening ceremony, that little piece of that little line and the sponsors all total was over 9,000 people. That's an incredible number. You only realize MFF didn't even break 9,000 until a couple of years ago. If you want to know the exact figure, look up on WikiFur. They're pretty good with numbers and stuff, but it'll blow your mind. And of course, we've got Live Like Rule, which is kind of like, oh, did that thing hit me kind of hard? I mean, how does a charity hit somebody hard? Well, Live Like Rule is an organization where they help people whose pets have cancer. You see, a few years back, my dog died a combination of old age and cancer. Yeah, and he went downhill pretty quick. And I mean, we did get these Friends of Rule thing badges. I couldn't wear them because I didn't want to start crying. I mean, seriously. I kept thinking about my dog and all that, and I donated it, and I'm just so happy. The one thing I made certain to get, and it's something this is something I actually use right now. This is my main drinking vessel. See, and that little thing is Rue. But I drink out of this in honor of my dog, Jake. I know it sounds like I don't get into personal information here, but my dog Jake was with me for a lot of years. I don't even know how old he was because I got him from adoption. But he was the best companion I had. He even helped me survive the death of my own brother, by the way, who also died of cancer. Which is you can go in the podcast on my videos on YouTube, and you can listen to the whole story. I'm not going to get into it because it can be a bit more, but Live Like Rue has some really nice stuff. I did the spin thing. I got myself a Rue pin. And by the way, this little design created by the staff of MFF, which they mentioned during the opening ceremonies, which I thought was fantastic. And the other thing they were giving away, they gave this to me when I bought the mug. Look at that. That is so nice. I haven't used it yet, but it just makes me happy. I know it kind of get into a little morbid here, but oh God, it was such an unusual convention. So much stuff going on at once, you know. The one thing I've learned, I mean, I tell you the one thing I've learned about I learned myself because I mean I brought my tripod with me to do some videos. It turns out my friend had more video ideas than I did. I should have took my tripod with me in my backpack. I didn't even think about this after the convention, but it was I took some videos, and my friend I recorded some other ones. If you look up the Fursuit Games video by DigiDude86, I'm the one who recorded it. He was in the games, and he was on the winning team, and he got a medal, which I thought was really nice. Also, your hands get trembled. But here we go. They mentioned in the opening ceremonies that this was the largest dealers area in the history of the convention. God, it was. I know it's not good to get wholly religious these days, but it was big. I would say it's a good 25% larger over last year. The Artist Alley was not, you know, they didn't give her a bigger room. They might have to do next year because they stuffed it. If you've been to this room before, seen videos of it, they stuffed it. According to one thing I heard, and I can't exactly say who's told me this, but they had between 30 and 40 more artists than they did last year, and it was a big number. There was lines. There was even lines getting into this thing. I mean, from literally Friday evening on. The artist did an amazing job. My friend got his usual commission, which I thought was rather nice. But and like I said, conventions are generally fun. You do what you got to do. You explore. You shop. You don't know what you're gonna get, what you're gonna do. Anyway, the first two games had, ironically, even though they changed locations where they hold the games, had the same number of players. They had like 80 players. I heard that even though I wasn't at the second one on Sunday, they had two this year, which is pretty unusual because nobody else does two. Uh, they had also had about 80 people there, maybe closer to 76, 80, but it was pretty neat. Um, the dances, I don't know what it's you, but people like the panels, which me and my friend went to, the raves, the dance competitions. There was just so much going on there. I don't want to highlight one event because it was a fantastic time. But I don't know what it is. I mean, both my friend and I are drawn to these furry game show panels. They don't get a lot of people there. Maybe Fursuit Price is Right got some extra people there. And by the way, they got a $10 Amazon card. Uh, I didn't. My friend did. My friend finally got on, but he did not win. He was anyway. But my friend did bring something that I thought was going to be rather interesting. He brought a 25-year-old digital camera that recorded the image to floppy disk. Look that one up. You're going to go like, what? Yeah, 25 years old. And I'm telling you something. If you look at the quality of the video, the quality of the images, they're be on a couple things. Eventually, they will also be on my uh, Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky, but the quality wasn't half bad. The arcade on the lower level was great. They had a lot of good games up there. They also had something, I admit, they didn't have the N64 they usually have down there. I like the N64. My friend loves the N64 because he owns one, but they didn't have it. But they had an NES and Genesis. They had two accessories. The NES had a Power Glove, which I will not get into because people have had mixed results with that. And they also had the Activator, which unfortunately broke down by Saturday. Yeah, it's not wasn't MFF, but that thing's buggy as heck. It use movements. And you think a lot of things we have these days were crappy. That was original crappy. And here's one that may surprise a lot of you. If you speaking of classic games, and remember the 3DS and Street Pass? Well, I own one. I own a 3DS. I like Mario Kart 7 and Captain Toad. Yeah, I actually own Captain Toad on the Genesis. I mean, on the 3DS and the Switch. Yeah, they're both good games. I got 59 hits. That's six more than last year. And they had an official Street Pass meet last year, which is remarkable. Street Pass love on Twitter kind of like overseas stuff, but it was it was fantastic. And if you thought the system was dead, it ain't dead. And the thing about it is, the Street Pass is also a little bit rebel. It can't be killed by Nintendo because it's built into the unit. If it senses one nearby, it'll transfer data, and it's purely automatic, and there's nothing they can do about it. The fursuit charades, which was something was so damn fun, and my friend and I went to it last year, and they had it again this year, which was pretty good. And you think you're good at charades? You should watch them play. They were better. I wouldn't even, my friend who had a fursuit didn't want to do it. If I didn't have a fursuit, I wouldn't do it either because I'm not that good. I made a lot of mistakes even guessing what it was, and they people got it right. Um, Sunday was a bit of an issue with me. We had I missed some things, meeting up with a friend of a friend. But I think the best thing I went to was a little thing called panel called Plug and Say, where you could plug what you're passionate about, tell a little story, be interviewed. I got applause because I explained this whole thing about everything that I do. Also, I heard something down there which is going to cause me to make a few changes to the my advertising. I'm going to put a QR code. I recently set up a Linktree account with all the main stuff I'm on, and you can. It just makes more sense than posting it on the card. I'll just post a QR code eventually. But anyway, that's later on. The one thing we were hoping to get into was the Furry Tech Mafia panel. I had no idea what it was. My friend knew what it was. We were 5 minutes late. We couldn't get in. It was packed. Absolutely 100% packed. SRO, standing room only. Well, we did really have a good time. We always have a good time. Oh, one thing I got to mention, the lockers they had down in MFF this year. I think that was a brilliant idea, but according to what I heard, at one point, literally at one point, all the lockers were full. They had the whole thing set up. All was set up in um, the main area, off on the way to the um, main events area, along that outside wall with a lot of glass. Also, they had a monitor there we could press a button and take photographs. I'm still not too certain how to access that yet. A lot of people are wondering about it. I've sent a letter off to MFF. I'm asking, how do you access this stuff? I wonder if it's going to be under what they posted up on their site, which is furfest.org/photos. That they posted that down there, but I assuming that's for the regular photographers. But we'll see what happens. I guess the last real big thing to talk about is the closing ceremonies. Holy cow! Oh, before I get into that, the one thing I really got to talk about is the crowds down there. And it's something I remarked to a lot of people. I even sent a letter to Duncan Husky, who is one of the staff. And if you've been to MFF on previous years, you know that it can get really packed down there. I think also that maybe contributed to the 14 ambulances they had last year because people were traipsing back and forth, between the hotel and the convention center. And it was packed in the convention center, I mean, and the hotel until this year. You could walk around. You could actually get from point A to point B and still actually have room to get to the escalators or in the staircases. It was a little crowded, but it wasn't bad. And I think it's also helped a lot of people out this year because they were able to take fursuiter photos. In fact, I've seen way more fursuiter photos than I have in previous years. I mean, I took a lot more than I had in the past. I, my friend took a lot of photos. It was great. But here's a big catch. Last year, I mean this year, we had, now get a load of this, 15,547. That's almost 2,000 over last year. I mean, God, and couldn't tell. You really couldn't tell. Um, I have a friend who doesn't who has problems with crowds. I'm telling you something, if you play it smart, you might be able to do the convention without uh, being overwhelmed. I'm not saying it's impossible, but That's a chance. But I think the best thing that came out of the convention was a donation for Live Like Rue. Now you got to understand something. Midwest Fur Fest actually holds the record for the most money donated during a convention. That's $250,000. That's an absolute fact. But they set the number two record. And now hold on this. It became it started with a check that for $100,000, which they donated, which they raised during the convention itself. And this is where the extra stuff came in. When somebody actually plunked down cash on the stage, this is without, I mean, because I know in previous years they had alkali, putting the hat down or trays. They put the money here. We want to give extra money to the charity. Oh my God, that was mind blowing. Well, like I said, I started out with $100,000. Then they brought out people put cash down. They brought out a tray, and well, anyway, it brought the total up over $85,000. So they raised $185,000 plus. And now they were still collecting donations when the convention closed. So I can't tell you what the final number. I don't think even they know what the final number was, but the charity does. And God bless them. How, but here's what I consider convention highlights. I haven't talked about convention highlights. This is where the convention highlights come in. The best place to eat during the entire convention was PAX, sushi, poke, and more. They set up a stand on the first floor of the convention center. I practically had all my meals there. It was fantastic. I mean, poke bowls. I really don't eat poke bowls, but I had a vegetarian one for lunch every single day of the convention. And I don't normally do that. And it was fantastic. Of course, Denny's turned out to be a real big hangout. Um, According to what I've read up on social media, there was no available seats at one point. Yeah, it became a real furry hangout, although not too many fursuiters there. I spoke to the staff. Me and my friend ate there a lot. Our hotel was right next door. We had breakfast over there before we went to the convention, but they only had like three fursuiters down there. My friend and two others. A lot of people just came down there sans fursuit, but it was pretty neat. And now for the highlights, as far as I'm concerned, or the lowlights or whatever. I want to show you the best advertising for a fursuiter I've ever seen. Look at this. You would think this is for a. I'm gonna hold this so you can scan it if you wanted to. I think you'd think that's for a website or something. This is for the fursuiter. Turned out Cactus Dog, yeah, Cactus Dog, created this, and this is fantastic. I may ask them to create something for me, and they don't charge me too much. And a couple things I did got, mentioning. This is a refrigerator magnet. See, not a sticker, but a refrigerator magnet. This was up my refrigerator before I decided to do the video. And by the way, anybody remember uh, been on Twitter and they've been to this great graffiti artist called Animal Art Crimes? They set up a booth down there at MFF, and I got this, and I got this, which is neat. WAG was giving out stickers, and even though I got a CD in the other room, I don't think it makes too much sense to show you. This shows a shark hanging from a hook. I don't know what it is. I just got it at the same booth where I got the stickers on the opposite side, and I don't know what's on it. I haven't even listened to it yet, but I've been a little busy, but it was interesting. And now for the books I got. I mean, you understand something. I go on a lot of websites, and I do talk about the publishers and stuff, and I see covers that I want, and I got managed to get exactly what I want. First one was this. I can't tell you, I love the cover. Even if I don't like the book, I love the cover. I haven't read, by the way, I have not read these yet. And of course, the other one I got this one. How could you not like that? Octopus Ascending? And he's wearing an astronaut suit? Another one I got was this. That's a long one. Oh, Tadpole. Little comic, little thing. Sort of weird little comic. But and with that one, I also got this, which is actually a little character thing, which I thought was neat. And I'll be reviewing these when I get around to it. I'm reading a book right now on a werewolf book I picked up at IFC. I know that was a couple months ago, but I got hooked into reading well, shall we say a story on uh Wattpad, but I kind of got stuck doing it. So anyway, I read it and I did like the story, although not, it was a good story. It was a good story after all. But anyway, that's it for now. I got to make some changes here. My numbers are way down, and hopefully do more interviews. Well, I got two in the pipeline. It just a matter of just hopefully they both pan out. Anyway, you have a good day, and see you next for the next convention.